Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Did Gerry Turner ask for second chance with Joan Vassos? Many fans have always wondered since Joan Vassos left the Golden Bachelor early to be with her daughter if there could have been something between her and Gerry Turner. The two appeared to have a great connection on the show. After Gerry and Theresa Nist divorced, many thought about whether or not he asked her for a second chance. What did she say about the speculation? Keep reading to find out more. Did Gerry Turner ask Joan Vassos for another chance at love? Fans sometimes wonder what could have been between two contestants. This is true for Golden Bachelor Gerry Turner and Joan Vassos. There seemed to be a connection between them, but sadly she left to be with her family. He ended up marrying Theresa Nist, but their marriage was short-lived when they divorced only 3 months later. After they split, fans wondered if Gerry approached Joan about giving their relationship a second chance. She recently went on a podcast, Two Jersey Jays, and was asked about her status with Gerry. She didn't really have a lot to say about it. Joan was asked if Gerry approached her about giving him a second chance. She simply said she wasn't going to comment on that. She did go on to say that their relationship blossomed into a very good friendship. They are still friends and they still keep in touch today. Joan went on to find her happy ending. Whether or not Joan Vassos was approached by Gerry Turner after his divorce really doesn't even matter. She went on to become the first ever Golden Bachelorette. Joan had a great season of her own. She found love with Chalk Chapel, and the two are engaged to be married. Things appear to have worked out the way they are supposed to. So far, Joan and Chalk have not set an official wedding date. At first, they thought about having a simple private ceremony, but then said fans should be included because they have been a part of their entire relationship. The two are currently trying to find an apartment in New York City to stay at from time to time when they are not in Maryland and Kansas. Once they have had time to get to know each other, they plan to start planning their big wedding event. So far, ABC has not shared whether or not their wedding will be televised. The rumors have been swirling for weeks, and Bachelor Nation was buzzing. Gerry Turner, the charismatic and kind-hearted first Golden Bachelor, was back in the headlines, but not for the reasons fans expected. After his televised journey ended with a heartfelt proposal to Theresa Nist, whispers emerged that things between the two lovebirds might not be as picture-perfect as the final rose ceremony suggested. Now all eyes were on the possibility of Gerry seeking a second chance, this time with none other than Joan Vassos, the sophisticated and enigmatic contestant who had captured both his heart and the audience's admiration during her time on the show. A chance encounter. It all started with a chance meeting at a charity gala in Chicago. Joan, always poised and effortlessly elegant, had been invited as a guest speaker to promote her literacy nonprofit. Gerry, attending on behalf of a senior wellness foundation, hadn't expected to see her there. The moment their eyes met across the crowded room, the air seemed to shift. Joan offered her signature warm smile, and Gerry, as always, returned it with his own trademark charm. Their reunion wasn't dramatic, no grand gestures or emotional outbursts, but it was undeniably electric. "Joan," Gerry said as he approached her, his voice a mix of surprise and nostalgia. "It's been a while." "It has," Joan replied, her tone as composed as ever. But there was a glimmer in her eye that hinted at something deeper, a flicker of curiosity, perhaps even hope. They spoke for hours that evening, tucked away in a quiet corner of the venue. Conversations flowed easily, just as they had during their time on the show. Joan shared updates about her work and her family, while Gerry opened up about life after the show, sidestepping any direct mentions of Theresa. But there was an elephant in the room neither could ignore. Eventually, Joan addressed it with her characteristic grace. "Gerry," she began, "I have to ask, what's brought you back into my orbit?" Gerry hesitated, his usual confidence faltering. "I don't think it's about being back in your orbit, Joan," he said finally. "I don't think I ever truly left. A love left unfinished. Joan Vassos had been a standout on The Golden Bachelor for her intelligence, her poise, and her undeniable chemistry with Gerry. But her journey had ended prematurely when she chose to leave the show to support her daughter, who had just given birth. At the time, her decision had been met with widespread respect. Gerry himself had called her departure bittersweet and admitted it left a hole in his heart. Even so, the show must go on, and Gerry had ultimately chosen Theresa, whose warmth and steadfast loyalty won him over. But now, with Gerry standing in front of her once more, Joan couldn't help but wonder, had she left the show too soon? And more importantly, was Gerry here to tell her the same? "I thought you and Theresa were happy," Joan said cautiously, though her voice betrayed the flicker of vulnerability beneath her polished exterior. Gerry sighed. "We were. And I don't regret the time we spent together. But sometimes, Joan, you don't realize you've made a wrong turn until you're too far down the road." The weight of his words hung between them, heavy with implication. The power of what if, for weeks after the gala. Gerry's words lingered in Joan's mind. She had built a life she loved, full of purpose and fulfillment. But hearing Gerry's voice again stirred feelings she hadn't fully confronted since leaving the show. Bachelor Nation caught wind of their reunion almost immediately. Social media was ablaze with speculation. Was Gerry having second thoughts? Was Joan willing to give him another chance? Joan remained tight-lipped, as was her style. But Gerry's silence was equally telling. He neither confirmed nor denied the rumors, leaving fans to dissect every detail of their brief public interactions. And then came the bombshell. A candid photo of Gerry and Joan walking along the Chicago River surfaced online, the two locked in what appeared to be a heartfelt conversation. The tabloids wasted no time spinning the narrative. Gerry Turner's second shot at love? The proposal that wasn't? The photo brought back memories for fans of the emotional roller coaster that was The Golden Bachelor. Many couldn't forget the moment when Gerry had tearfully confessed his feelings for Joan during their one-on-one date. "I see a future with you, Joan," he had said back then, his voice cracking with emotion. "But I need to know that you see it too." At the time, Joan's response had been cautiously optimistic. She had admitted to caring deeply for Gerry, but was hesitant to commit fully while her daughter needed her support. Now it seemed life had come full circle. Gerry was single again, at least according to the grapevine, and Joan was no longer bound by the obligations that had once held her back. But was it too late? A bold move. In true Gerry Turner fashion, he decided not to let the narrative spin out of his control. Appearing on a popular podcast, Gerry addressed the rumors directly. "Joan is an incredible woman," he said. "What we shared was real. And it's something I've thought about often since the show ended." When pressed about his relationship with Theresa, Gerry was candid but respectful. "Theresa and I had a beautiful journey together, but sometimes two people just aren't meant to walk the same path forever." As for Joan, Gerry's words were carefully chosen but undeniably heartfelt. "If life gives you a second chance to connect with someone who truly moves your soul, I think you owe it to yourself, and to them, to explore it." The interview sent shockwaves through Bachelor Nation. Gerry wasn't just hinting at a second chance with Joan. He was practically laying the groundwork for it. Joan's choice. Joan, ever the private individual, was less forthcoming in her response. When asked about Gerry's comments during a brief appearance on a morning talk show, she smiled thoughtfully. "Gerry is a wonderful man," she said. "I have a lot of respect for him and the journey we both shared. Beyond that, well, I think some things are better left between the two people involved." Her answer only fueled more speculation, but behind the scenes, Joan was grappling with a complex mix of emotions. Could she allow herself to revisit something she thought she'd closed the door on? The grand gesture. Gerry Turner wasn't one to shy away from grand gestures, and this time was no different. Weeks after his podcast appearance, he flew to Joan's hometown unannounced, flowers in hand and determination in his heart. Standing on her doorstep, Gerry offered Joan a sheepish smile. I've been thinking a lot about us, he said simply. And I just needed to tell you this in person. Joan, you're the one I should have fought harder for. Joan, caught off guard but undeniably moved, took a deep breath. Gerry, she began, her voice trembling slightly. This isn't how I imagined this conversation happening.